Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalayim Na Yahabashim Yashabashim Kakudash, and double on Instagram as apostles. Thadia for the strength in order to make this video, and Yaratazar that I built up from it as well. So, this is the part 2 to the other video which I named Moab is not tolerating Babylon's nonsense. So, which really goes into the little trade war that's going on, you know, the tariffs, the increase in tariffs, who's going to fold first. That's essentially what's going on here. Hence why they call it a trade war, man. But yeah, we're going to get into this. I'm going to play like, I think the first 8 minutes. And yeah, that'll be it, man. That'll be it. So, trying to think of whether I should start from the precept or... I'm gonna start. You know what? Let me play the video just to get the context, a bit of it. Then you know, I'm gonna read precept. Then I'll get back to the video, man. See, as it's named here, how Trump's China tariffs could shutter Amazon sellers in the U.S. So of course, U.S. citizens who are Amazon sellers, man. You know, that's their business. That's their livelihood. That's how they feed their family. Anyways, let's continue.
In this tiny warehouse in Northern California, Dusty Kenny is getting her products ready to sell on Amazon.
We make baby spoons, baby placemats, bento boxes, bowls, plates, cups, and we manufacture them in China, and they come via sea in all these boxes here.
But now Kenny is facing a giant additional cost, a 125% tariff on all her... Dusty Kenny is getting her products ready to sell on Amazon.
We make baby spoons, baby placemats, bento boxes, bowls, plates, cups, and we...
So really, you know, they're invested in their business is based upon really baby products, man. You know, that's why I want to hear one more time. But yeah, that's really what they're doing. So let's hear a talk.
Manufacture them in China, and they come via sea in all these boxes here.
But now Kenny is facing a giant additional cost, a 125% tariff on all her goods coming from China.
We have tens of thousands of products here.
Which really, it's not that was an old value, man. The latest value is 145% tariff, as we know from the other BBC News video in part 1.
This warehouse. And when you add a tariff to all of that, and you're trying to absorb that for your customer to not raise prices on them, that adds up to an astronomical amount.
On April 2nd, Trump announced big, aggressive tariffs, a 10% baseline on...
Yeah, that's it. That's Nero right there, man. Nero right there in the flesh.
Customer to not raise prices on them, that adds up to an astronomical amount.
On April 2nd, Trump announced big, aggressive tariffs, a 10% baseline on nearly all imports.
But yeah, the guy, I think the guy's pretty tall in real life, man. You know, I'm just going on a little tangent there. But yeah, that's Nero right there, man. He's here to institute decrees which will provoke the people, which will provoke the Egyptians, man. You already have flipping rallies and protests going on against Trump, man. So that's Nero right there, man. He's doing his thing. He's doing his thing, which will of course lead to Babylon's downfall. Alright, let's play some.
The U.S. and far steeper rates on many nations.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them.
This is my livelihood. This is how we put food on the table. It could put me out of business.
Stocks tumbled amid fears of reciprocal tariffs, rising prices, and slowing consumer spend. Although Trump did put a 90-day pause on tariffs for some countries on April 9th,
prices will go up in the short term. There's no doubt about it.
CNBC sat down with 8 U.S. businesses who sell on Amazon to find out how the new tariffs are having an impact on their prices, their competitors in China, and their customers' willingness to spend.
Yeah, man. So most people use China as their manufacturing facility. So let's get to it. Okay, this. I'll read it from here. So Jeremiah 48, and I'll read some key verses here, really. That's what I aim to do. I noted it down. So Jeremiah 48 and 1 to 2. Against Moab, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, woe unto Nebo, for it is spoiled. Kiriathaim is confounded and taken. Misgab is confounded and dismayed. Now really, Misgab, Kiriathaim, and Nebo are all names referring to Moab. Some of them are literal lands of Moab as well. So verse 2, there shall be no more praise in Moab, in Heshbon. They have devised evil against it. Come and let us cut it off from being a nation. Also thou shalt be cut down, O madman, the sword shall pursue thee. So yeah, Moab, really, there's multiple ways you can see the perspective here of Moab being madmen. One, first of all, is the heap of detestable meats that they have over there, and all the types of shit that they eat there, man. That's one way you can see Moab's madness, as well as trying to think of another example as well that's more obvious, man. But really, the scriptures refer to Moab as a madman. Said the sword shall pursue thee. So even they have destruction that's that they're gonna afflict, that they're gonna feel. But again, Babylon's destruction is the major one that we're looking out for, man. Moab, they're gonna be dealt with, man. They're part of the list of enemies in Psalms 83. So let's get to a few 11 to 12 now. It says Jeremiah 48 and 11, Moab hath been at ease from his youth, and he hath settled on his lees. Lees is reference to wine or dregs, but yeah, it said wine in the Strong's definition. And hath not been emptied from vessel to vessel, neither hath he gone into captivity, therefore his taste remained in him, and his scent is not changed, man. So of course, when where it says his taste remained in him and his scent is not changed, that's why he's going to be walking in a prideful sense. He's going to be walking in the way of pride. That's why the Most High will also deal with him too. Because really, with these tariffs as well, it will also affect the Chinese citizens, whatever little amount they may be, of whom use U.S. products, man. Especially the Chinese businessmen of whom use, or U.S. businessmen of whom use import products from America into China to sell. So, but that's I'll presume it's a smaller number than the ones of whom are using China to sell products in America. So yeah, verse 12, Jeremiah 48 and 12. Therefore, behold, a day is come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send unto him wanderers that shall cause him to wander, and shall empty his vessels and break their bowls, man. So of course, the Most High has got a lot of things planned for Moab as well, man. To break their bowls. So whatever enjoyment or whatever pride that they have, it will be shattered. Now, I'm going to read verse 16 to 17. It says, the calamity, that great destruction of Moab, is near to come, and his affliction hasteth fast. So Moab's got a lot to pay for, man. Moab's got a lot to pay for. Can't just be sliding in the shadows, man. It says, all ye that are about him bemoan him, and all ye that know his name, how is the strong staff broken, and the beautiful rod? Because if you remember a few years back, people actually thought that China was going to be the next superpower, man. Being in control of all this, of the production, the manufacturing of most of these products, man. Hence they want to get Taiwan as well. Want to control the production there. Have the ultimate leverage over America, man. Because these semiconductor chips can be derived from Taiwan. So yeah, that strong staff going to be broke. He says, how is a strong staff broken? Yeah, through the Most High's will. That's how Moab gonna be broken. So that's just, some talk on Moab. At the end of the day, the focus really is on Babylon and its own destruction, and Nero is aiding that for the time to come, man. So it's aiding the fall of Babylon, the fall of America. All right, let's get back to it. Hold on.
On their prices, their competitors in China, and their customers' willingness to spend. Tariffs have been around since America's early days. But since the creation of the federal income tax in 1913, they've become a smaller and smaller portion of federal revenue, with some notable moments of tariff increases along the way. By the 2010s, the average tariff was just 1 to 3%. Then Trump sent tariffs soaring during his first term, taxing steel and aluminum from U.S. allies, threatening tariffs on Mexico and Canada, and launching a trade war with China. Sound familiar?
Brands come to us panicked about tariffs. We started talking to our clients about recommending getting out of China a long time ago when the first rounds of tariffs came up. And then Biden became president. We said, Biden's not going to remove it.
Sure enough, most of Trump's first-term tariffs continued under Biden. And now Trump's back. He started with a 10% tariff on most Chinese goods in February. China retaliated with an added 15% tariff on some U.S. imports. Trump raised the China tariff to 20% on March 4th. That's also when whopping new 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada went into effect.
I was in a state of shock, and it was very sudden. We have to stop everything. We cannot afford selling goods anymore.
Portable Winch Co. has been making its car winches in Canada for more than 20 years and simply driving them an hour to the U.S. border for duty-free shipping to American customers, until now.
The U.S. is a growing market for us. It represents like 22% of our sales. We are questioning ourselves if we just move our focus to Europe. Is it really a negotiation tactic? Maybe. I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Then on April 2nd, Trump made his biggest move yet, reciprocal tariffs on 180 countries, with an average rate the highest it's been since the Great Depression. There's a blanket 10% tariff on nearly all imports, 20% on the European Union, and big tariffs in Asia, 32% on Taiwan, 46% on Vietnam, 49% on Cambodia, although Trump did put a pause on tariffs for some countries on April 9th. But in the biggest blow for many Amazon sellers, Trump doubled down on China tariffs, raising them to a humongous 125%, following China's own retaliatory tariff of 84% on U.S. goods. Estimates show some 60 to 70% of goods on Amazon come from China. Although most products on Amazon are sold by third parties, tariffs will also impact its own brands like Amazon Basics.
They're trying to win by saying we have a similar feature set to the national battery at a lower price. And so if they have to raise that price, consumers are likely to have a preference for that well-known, familiar brand.
So will Amazon increase prices on its own brands, passing the new tariff cost on to consumers?
The last thing they want to do is right away just pass it to the consumer because you don't know how transitory this is. I think if it extends after, call it 6 months, then a lot of those ultimately get passed to the consumer.
As for whether third-party sellers will need to raise prices,
So that's pretty much like a 6-month grace period for certain companies to decide to hold it down in absorbing the punch from the tariffs to pay for it before they then leave it to the consumers, and then that's when you're going to see the ripple effect of hyperinflation, man. Especially if Trump continues with this trade war to keep increasing tariff prices, man. Or tariffs upon China.
I will hold my prices for as long as I can and just absorb those tariffs because I'm already competing against those Chinese sellers that are undercutting me.
On Amazon, yeah, we'll probably increase the price by 10 to 20% at some point.
Tariffs are going to increase.
Even on that point, on Chinese sellers undercutting prices, for competition, business competition. You got Temu, man. You got Temu bros probably saw that advert everywhere, over the past year, over the past few months. You got Temu, man. That's like a Chinese version of Amazon. They got super cheap stuff there. Not that I personally use it, but from what I've heard, man, some cheap stuff over there. So that's what they're competing with. You're competing with someone of whom can sell something cheaply and undercut you with prices, man. You undercut another business. That it's a matter of who can last the longest before they can then raise the prices, and that's a monopoly right there. Anyways, let's continue.
The price of toys for the consumer, there's no doubt about it.
This is your chance to invest in Mouse.
There's no doubt about it.
While
Yeah, let me get one more. Let me get a precept here. Because these tariffs are going to be absorbed by they're going to be absorbed by the actual U.S. citizens, the U.S. business people. Now, Isaiah. Actually, no, not Isaiah. What am I saying? Haggai 1:6. Haggai 1:6. It says here. This is Haggai chapter 1:6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it in a bag with holes, man. Part of the holes is not just bills that he pay, but for business people, anyone who really owns a business, they gotta pay taxes as well. They gotta pay taxes. So that's part of a tariff is a tax on imports, from other countries. So, they gotta pay that, man. And this is a major hole. As it says here, put it into a bag with holes. This is a major hole in that bag, man. And only certain businesses are going to be able to hold up long enough before putting it to the consumer.
While tariffs on China are nothing new,
Increase the price of toys for the consumer, there's no doubt about it.
While tariffs on China are nothing new, it's unusual for them to hit certain types of goods, like toys.
I mean, it's real steel. This is a real steel, really tangible toy. This toy retails for $29.99. This will end up costing $5 to $10 more as these tariffs fully pass through.
Jay Foreman runs Florida-based Basic Fun. With $200 million in annual sales, its well-known labels sell on Amazon and at retailers like Walmart and Target.
Tonka trucks, Care Bears, Lincoln Logs, Tinker Toys, Light Bright. And as with most of the toy business, we make the overwhelming majority of our product in China. China, has a tremendous workforce, and not only a tremendous workforce, but they've invested in the infrastructure to create a toy manufacturing supply chain.
Because of China tariffs during Trump's first term, Foreman says a lot of toy manufacturing has moved to Vietnam, Mexico, and India in the last 5 years.
The interesting part there is that most of the factories that operate in places, toy factories anyway, that operate in places like Vietnam, India, and Mexico are owned by Chinese anyway. So you're sort of not...
Oh boy, Moab really is the one taking out all the dirty work, man. Moab scooping it all up.
escaping doing business with the Chinese.
It's been crazy. Sometimes we find information because we get an invoice or we see the customs entry document. We're like, well, what? What do we charge? What do we charge again?
John Covey owns St. Louis-based Genius Games. He does the majority of his yearly $2 million in sales on Amazon and makes his science-based board games in China.
The actual machinery to manufacture at the quality that we need primarily exists in China, and we have not seen samples that will compare to the same level of quality.
And toys are just one category among many that rely on China for manufacturing and assembly due to lower costs and established infrastructure.
This is one of the most amazing pieces of technology, and this thing is made in China. And Whether you're making a Tonka truck in China or an Apple iPhone, they figured it out.
Almost all electronics that U.S. consumers like to buy are fabricated in China. The vast majority of textiles are milled in China, whether the apparel is actually put together in China or not.
Other categories, like teas, can't easily be grown in the U.S. because of the climate.
You need high humidity. Usually you need to be at a very high altitude, and those things only come together in certain parts of the world. Like the green teas that we use are only really grown in coastal China. The black teas are grown in India.
Baltimore-based Zest makes high caffeine teas. About half of its $3 to $4 million of annual sales happen on Amazon.
It's those components that are the most troubling. Of you don't really have a U.S. The black teas are grown in India.
Baltimore-based Zest makes high caffeine teas. About half of its $3 to $4 million of annual sales happen on Amazon.
It's those components.
Come on, man. Half of its revenue is derived from Amazon, man. And obviously, certain components you go get from China as well, as you said, because of the climate. So even then, the Most High has given them, quite good land in order to be dominant in this, in terms of production, and basically making China valuable for international trade.
That are the most troubling. Of you don't really have a U.S. option, and just you have to pass on the cost eventually.
Yeah, that's really the point, man. Yaratazama link this video I'm gonna link this video for the part 2, and I'm gonna get 2 more presets and close it out. Because I've already explained the point, man. Hyperinflation, how that's gonna be a result of this trade war. If it goes on for that long. So let's get this. Verse 28 and verse 15. Verse 28 and 15. As a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the people, man. So of course these decrees are gonna impact the people of America the most. Because Trump be talking about make America wealthy again with these tariff plans that he's got. No, really, all in all, the typical citizen of America who owns a business using China as the main manufacturer to import into America, they're gonna suffer from it, man. It's only so long that they're gonna be able to hold it down until they have to raise prices in order to really stay afloat, to break even, as some may say. So let's get this. Ecclesiastes. That's why Trump's getting protests against him right now. Right. Ecclesiastes 10 and 5. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from a ruler. A ruler making a mistake, man. That's also not, that can be likened as another evil as well, because the people are going to have to suffer from the decree of that ruler. Let's get the NLT of that. So the NLT, so New Living Translation for Ecclesiastes 10 and 5. There is another evil I have seen under the sun. Kings and rulers make a grave mistake. Which really, all in all, in the grand plan of the Most High Yahweh, as you know through the scriptures, is that Babylon the Great has to fall. And this is just one of the ways that it can diminish economically. And then once economically it diminishes, you're going to have the wars, World War III to happen as well, which will also be to the diminishment of America as well, man. So, one thing leads to the other. One thing leads to the other. But yeah, that's really the point of the video, Hakim. Yaris, if you bros want to watch the rest of it, I'm going to link it in the description. So yeah, I'm going to end off there. Shalom. And Kahala Imla Yahaba Shem Yashaba Shinaka Kudash. Once more, double on to the greatness of the apostles. Thou the Yahweh, thou the Yahweh, for the strength, to make this video as well. So Shalom.